These are the words of Herodotus, the father of history. And he was right. The Nile's waters did not only fertilize the land, they also nourished the culture, the religion, and the identity of one of the most enduring civilizations in human history. But before the pyramids, before the pharaohs, before the great stone temples that still defy time, there was a long period that laid the foundations of Egyptian civilization. We call it the Predynastic period, a remote era from the Neolithic to the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt around 3100 BC. It was then that small groups of farmers and artisans slowly became the ancestral people who would change the course of the ancient world. We do not know exactly when humans arrived in the Nile Valley. The earliest traces date back to the Paleolithic, hunters and gatherers moving along the river. With the Neolithic, everything changed. Agriculture became the main source of survival. They domesticated plants and animals. They settled into permanent communities. The Nile's annual floods provided fertile soil, ensuring abundant harvests. But life was not only about food. Signs of spirituality and symbolism appear very early. At Nabta Playa, a Neolithic site southwest of the valley, megalithic stone circles were erected. Many scholars believe they had religious or astronomical purposes. For some, they are the first evidence of Egypt's profound link with the cosmos and the divine. The next great step was the Badarian culture, discovered in El Badari, Upper Egypt. The Badarians lived from agriculture. They cultivated wheat, barley, lentils, and tubers. They raised cattle, sheep, and goats. Even their animals received ceremonial burials, a sign of a symbolic and spiritual bond with animal life. They crafted tools such as sickles, arrowheads, and axes. But their most distinctive legacy is the black-topped pottery, polished with surprising technical skill. Their burials reveal social organization, bodies in fetal position, wrapped in mats or animal skins, accompanied by personal objects, shells, amulets, ivory figurines, and copper ornaments. We can already see early social stratification. Some graves were richer and placed apart, the first glimpse of the hierarchy that would later define Pharaonic Egypt. The Naqada culture, 4500 to 3000 BC. After the Badarians came the culture that shaped historical Egypt, the Naqada culture. It developed in 3 phases. Naqada I, or Amratian, from 4500 to 3500 BC. They coexisted with the Badarians, but eventually replaced them. Small farming villages, art flourished. Fertility figurines, and representations of bearded men, perhaps symbols of leadership. Naqada II, or Gurzian. From 3500 to 3200 BCA, decisive leap forward. Agriculture advanced through artificial irrigation. Hunting became less important. Villages grew into the first true cities. Art and symbolism expanded. Pottery with complex motifs, stone palettes shaped like animals or shields, early forms of the ceremonial palettes of dynastic Egypt. Metallurgy improved, especially with copper. Trade with Mesopotamia and Asia began, exchanging ideas, objects, and symbols. Monumental architecture also appeared. At Nekhen, or Hierakonpolis, sacred center of Horus, a large ritual enclosure was built, an oval courtyard, surrounded by wooden and reed structures, the direct ancestor of the funerary complexes that would culminate in the step pyramid of Djoser. Naqada III, or Proto-Dynastic, from 3200 to 3000 BC. Also known as Dynasty Zero, here we meet the first kings of Upper Egypt, rulers who wore the white crown, rulers considered living manifestations of the gods. Art from this period shows scenes of power and conquest. The most famous example, the Narmer palette. A king, possibly Narmer himself, is shown wearing both crowns, Upper and Lower Egypt united. This was the dawn of pharaonic ideology, the king as the living Horus. Horus and the vulture goddess Nekhbet as symbols of Upper Egypt. Set and the cobra goddess Wadjet representing Lower Egypt. The conflict between these gods mirrored the political struggles of the time. Finally, the followers of Horus triumphed. They defeated the followers of Set. They consolidated the supremacy of Upper Egypt. And they paved the way for Narmer's unification around 3100 BC. The pre-dynastic period was one of the most crucial stages in human history. It was the time when small Neolithic farming communities transformed into organized societies, with hierarchies, religion, and symbols of power. It was the time when the seeds of art, writing, architecture, and spirituality were sown. Seeds that would define Egypt for more than 3,000 years. Without Badari, without Naqada, there would be no pharaohs, no pyramids, no temples. It was in this period that the Egyptian identity was forged, an identity that marked the beginning of one of the most influential, mysterious, and enduring civilizations in the history of mankind.